Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel, Tarot by Bronx. This is Tarot Talk. These are Tarot Tings, and I'm your host, Boogie. Boogie down Bronx. Yeah. Y'all check this shirt out, y'all. Guess who made this shirt? I made this motherfucking shirt, okay? So if you want to get boogie down Bronxed like me, go check out my new Etsy shop, y'all. I've been designing a lot of merch. Everything on there I designed myself. I do have a degree in media design. That's what I went to college for. But if you're interested, please support the Etsy shop at the least. Please favorite it. And just stay tuned because I'm dropping a lot of summer merchandise for Pisces season. And then, you know, all different types of things. Shorts, bucket hats, crop tops, whatever y'all want to see. Feel free to reach out, DM me with special requests or customs you want me to design for you. And also shout out to my Pisces pendant. I know you can't really see it, but there's two fish on it. I am a part of sponsor, or I'm a sponsor. Is it a sponsor? I don't know. For Ana Luisa Jewelry. So go check these out. These are really nice and they're sturdy and they don't break me out because I break out really easily with fake jewelry and stuff like that. So for Pisces season, let's get right. All right. Also, if you're on my Patreon and on my email list, I did send out an email about, I didn't send it out yet, but I'm going to send out an email about some Saturn and Pisces merchandise as well as Saturn return merch. So look out for that. Okay. That has not been released just yet. So all that being said, thank you, Pisces. Happy March. Thank you for being here. We are starting March monthlies right now, and we are having very, very important transits for Pisces placements and mutable signs in general this month. So let's get into your reading. Let's flip all these cards and see what it is that you need to surrender. We're going to start with surrender and the blunt truth you need to hear. Surrender your ego, give a little, get a little, and Casper, the scared ass ghost. At the bottom, failure to commit. All right. So first thing we have, surrender your ego, cultivate gratitude, be of service to others, and come from your heart. A big ego can work against you, but humility will further your goals. If you are on my Patreon, I did a Pisces only exclusive reading. And so if you have Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars, Venus, or Saturn, especially Saturn and Pisces, this energy is really going to influence us, okay? Because Pisces is separated from the ego. Pisces is void of things ego-based, all right? It's all about spirituality. It's about humanity in an emotional standpoint. It's kind of similar to Aquarius, but it's not so much like from a logical standpoint. It's from a spiritual and empathetic standpoint. All right. So ego issues will work against you. That means that if you're doing things, you have give a little, get a little here, that kind of goes with it. If you're doing things from your ego with expectation of getting something every single time, or you're only doing something because you want to get something in return, you're sacrificing yourself in expectation of getting something from somebody or a particular situation, then you are doing it for the wrong reasons. And therefore, it is going to work against you. And this is where Saturn is stepping in and saying, we need to give and receive, but not from a place of ego just to soothe ourselves. We have to give and receive from a place of, because we want to do it from our heart, not because we're expecting anything in return. Now, with that, that means that there also has to be boundaries, which is what Saturn is teaching us here. Saturn is about discipline. So it's about getting discipline and knowing how much is appropriate to give and how much is appropriate to take. And that is just going to be this whole process over the next about 2.5 years of us trying to figure out the areas of our life where we are giving from a place of ego, a place of expectancy, and we are taking too much from others where we should be, not taking so much. So it's about finding the boundaries with that as well. Now you have Casper, the scared ass ghost. I don't know exactly what that is about, but there is an energy of fearfulness here. Can we clarify that card, please, Casper? For Pisces. We're just going to take those. You have neglecting intuition at the bottom. we have mental health check, and then we have honor your boundaries. So you're going to hear me referring to Saturn and Pisces a lot because this transit is very important. And because you're a Pisces, especially, it's going to influence you a lot. And it has to do with these things as well. These themes: mental health check and honor your boundaries. So escapism is something that tends to be it can be a tendency of Pisces when they are not operating in their highest selves. Okay. Addiction, escapism, delusion, all are associated with Neptune, which rules Pisces. And so therefore, when you do not check in with yourself, right? Or in order to avoid checking in with yourself, you may run away. You may run away and try to find things to escape into, which can be other people, can be shopping, can be food, can be any type of codependency, right? But you want to really make sure that you're tapped into your mental health at this time. And this is something you want to prioritize. Instead of running away from your problems, they're going to really just keep showing up in different ways, and you're not going to be able to run the way you used to. All right. If you are a person who tends to run away from their problems rather than face them, or you tend to try to medicate your pain or whatever it is, you have to face things head on here, which I see that you are going to be under pressure to do so. And then you have honor your boundaries. All right. So this here with anything or anybody that is getting in the way of your mental health and it is inflicting discomfort on you, honor those boundaries. Stand up for yourself. All right. And honor your disciplining your boundaries with saying, okay, I need to listen to my body. I need to listen to my intuition and what it needs, because I am going crazy here. And my body is obviously trying to communicate that I feel bothered or I feel like something is wrong. So I need to check in with myself. All right. Virgo is correlated to physical health, and Pisces is correlated to mental health. So this is a time where we do need to be a lot more serious, Saturn, with mental health issues, with regulating our emotions, with checking in with ourselves, and running away from that can have very serious consequences over the next few years. Okay. So let's see, for Pisces, what do we need to hear with giving, receiving, where we need to not run away? No. No. Okay, so what do we need? What else for Pisces? Where we need to check in with ourselves, stop running away, face the truth. You have new love, marriage or life partnership. We have friendships. So definitely in relationships here. What else for Pisces? Where we need to get more serious, stop running from things. All right. So all in regards and related to matters of the heart, a lot of them, okay? Because this is my everything deck, and there's mostly a lot of red cards, which are symbolic of love. So we have friendships, we have new love, we have self-love, we have marriage or life partnership to start us off, okay? So it's all about learning a new approach to love, learning a new approach to relationships instead of avoiding relationships altogether. I feel like some of you Pisces, maybe you've just been in this place for a very long time where you would rather just avoid people altogether, avoid connection, avoid getting deep with anybody, because you've learned that love or connection or intimacy correlates to pain, right? And that is something that happens when we're learning to connect with others and we are disappointed or our caregivers do not meet our needs, right? But this is a time period where you're going to have to learn to restructure that, and learning that escaping relationships or avoiding relationships do not heal you. You are going to still be triggered as soon as you reconnect with somebody, and it's not something that you can run away from. Okay. If you ever want to find new love again, or if you ever want to have real connection, if you ever want to get married, it means that you do have to put your heart out there. You do have to take the risk in connecting, and you have to take the risk in connecting with some people that are not good, But the more you love yourself, the more you're able to discern, okay, this is not somebody meant for me. I know what I want. I know who I am. This person is not good. So don't release the expectation that every time you put yourself out there, every time you try to connect with somebody, that is always going to be a good match for you. Okay. Just because you decide, okay, I'm ready to start connecting. The first person you meet, that does not mean that is a good match for you. That does not mean that that's somebody you're meant to connect with just because you decide you want to. It's about having better discernment, and getting faster and not taking it personally and getting your ego all wrapped up in the fact that, well, I do all this for people and they never show up for me. Well, sometimes, it could be from a place of ego if you are doing things in expectation that for people to show up for you, that you're doing it the wrong way. But also, some people do not deserve you to show up for them so quickly, so easily, so upfront. Not everything. Give a little, get a little. We need to work on our reciprocity. Some of you give too freely, too openly, all the time, and there's no boundary with it ever. And that is not good, because then you become resentful because you're like, well, people are always taking from me. Well, you kept giving and you never said no, and you never stopped, and you kept expecting. So that is where honor your boundaries comes in. And it's not necessarily that, it doesn't mean that people did not hurt you. It doesn't mean that people weren't selfish, of course, but it also means this is a time frame we need to start taking more accountability for our part that we played in it as well, where we got wrapped up in our own ego by continuing to try to pull from people that could not give to us to feed something that we should have been giving ourselves in the first place. So you don't have this neediness for somebody else to give it to you. Okay. So it all is a domino effect. It all goes full circle. The more you love yourself, the more you give to yourself, the less you are going to need from other people, the less you are going to be dependent on other people to meet those needs. Them meeting those needs is just a bonus. It's icing on the cake. Okay. You being able to meet your own needs and having other people be able to meet your needs is what you're going for. You don't want to always be hyper independent and always meet your own needs. Never ever need anybody else for anything, because we don't have to operate in extremes. We don't have to be all over here, or we don't have to be completely enmeshed and codependent. Okay. There's hyper independent, there's codependent, and there's interdependent. I don't know if y'all knew that word, interdependent. That is where we want to be. That's the healthy medium for relationships. It's where you're, like I said, you're not hyper dependent. You're completely void of all connection, all intimacy. You're just completely away from it. You don't want it. Or you're completely dependent on it and you cannot function without another person and without another connection there to validate you. But in the middle, you can operate on your own. You can operate in a partnership. You're fine by yourself. Okay. That's where we want to get to. So that's where we're at, with relationships here. And then you have affair or third party. So we want to really get away from this energy and not getting all mixed up in things like that. All right. So now other things you have: letters in name, A, S, H, L, or N. This can be letters in your name, letters in someone else's name here. What else do we have for Pisces? What is the advice for spicy Pisces? Ooh. Intuition. What is the advice for Pisces? Unrequited or unbalanced came out. What is the advice for Pisces at this time? Small business. Timing is right. Still angry or hurt. Yeah, I see this ego. All this ego stuff is getting dissolved. Okay. And you have life purpose. You guys have been having life purpose on your radar for a while. A lot of you, this is the time where you are going to figure out your life purpose if you haven't figured it out yet, and what you're meant to do here. You have small business as well. So this is a good time where your small business may start to thrive, or you're planting permanent seeds for your business to grow. Now you have still angry or hurt, and you have forgiveness. Okay. So there is still a lot of holding on to pain of what has been done to you that is preventing you from moving forward. Now there's a lot of nuance surrounding forgiveness, and a lot of people are very much against forgiveness, but take it the way it resonates for you. If you don't want to forgive anybody or anything, that's up to you. But I personally feel that if you are allowing a past person or a past energy to now interfere with your new interactions, your new connections, and it is really tainting the way that you approach it. It's preventing you from opening your heart. It's preventing you from embracing what's good for you. Then you do need to take that forgiveness approach and figure out how you can let go, how you can stop being angry and hurt, or how you can stop taking something so personally and allowing it to sabotage what's next in your life, what's new in your life, because that's not fair to you, right? And that's not fair to anybody else if you're projecting what somebody else did to you on somebody who has never done anything to you. So we need to be very careful about that, in our approach to forgiveness. Of course, you don't have to let anybody back in your life. You don't have to forgive somebody, for them. But if you know that it's causing you to be bitter, it's causing you to be angry all the time, it's causing you to feel pain and be nasty to other people, then yeah, consider forgiveness may be something that you need to approach, and like reframing the way that you're perceiving the situation, instead of like it being like, why me? Why would this person do it to me? Take it as it has nothing to do with you. Get your ego out of the situation. Take it as it was just a projection of how they felt towards themselves. And the more you start to practice that, as well as forgiving yourself, if you can't forgive somebody else, work on self-forgiveness, because a part of you is likely still angry at yourself for overgiving, for self-sacrificing everything you have for another person. And sometimes we project all that anger onto the other person and we forget to look at ourselves, right? And we're like, well, it was my fault that I continued to give, or I allowed this to happen, or, there's things that are our fault we need to be accountable for. And then there's other things we can blame on others. Remember, this is not a black and white situation. This is very gray area we're talking here. So we want to focus on dissolving the ego here when it comes down to taking things so personally about why something happened to us, versus looking at it as this happened for me to show me where I need to be stronger in my boundaries, where I need to work on reciprocity and making sure things are more balanced in my life before I just give my whole life away for somebody. Why am I doing that? Am I doing that because I expect this person to do the same for me? If that's the reason why I'm doing it, then that is not a good reason at all. I need to stop giving my whole life to somebody, expecting them to give me their whole life, because Pisces can be about sacrifice and self-sacrifice. But you want to make sure that you are sacrificing for the right people who would sacrifice for you, but you're not sacrificing yourself necessarily, not just throwing away everything that you are and what you do. All right, so that's where we want to get to here, and letting that go, leaning on more of intuition at this time. More than anything, the next few years is about intuition and getting discipline and listening to yourself, because a lot of you just ignore your intuition, and then you get mad because you're like, well, I knew that already. I knew this was going to happen. Well, if you knew it, then why did you do it? If you knew it, then why did you do it? I know you can't tell me because you didn't listen. So let's get better at listening to ourselves and what we feel. Let's get better at having better boundaries. Let's get better at not taking everything so personally when people hurt us. Let's get better at forgiving ourselves when we make mistakes, okay? There's a lot of things that we need to learn to integrate here. So with that being said, let's turn into the end part of the advice for Pisces. I actually want to pull these affirmation cards. I pulled these yesterday on Patreon. So what we got for Pisces here, Spirit? What is Pisces advice for that is hilarious. What is the advice for Pisces? Okay. Wow, literally everything I just said. So the first one is, I am love. I give love freely. I receive love constantly. Okay. So this goes with this ego thing. This is where it's going to be very difficult because, again, you can love openly and you can love freely. But when you're loving openly and loving freely and receiving freely and openly, you have to figure out how to release those expectations that you are going to get something in return just because you gave love. But at the same time, we have this communicate honestly and directly. Don't assume, set your boundaries, and remember it's okay to just say no. So you have to also learn what is your capacity of how much you want to give at a time and how much and who you're giving to. So it's two things happening here at once with the themes. Give a little, get a little, giving and receiving, and honoring your boundaries and knowing when enough is enough. Okay? So that is where some of you have been struggling, but that is where Saturn is coming in to help you and show you, look, this is what happens when you give to the wrong people and you know they're not the right people. Or this is what happens when you're giving from a place of ego and there's consequences for that and there's pain as a result of that. And this is what we need to do. We need to have these boundaries in place and saying, no, this is my capacity for this person, for this person, for this person. I don't want to give to that one at all. And we are going to move accordingly instead of blaming other people and saying, well, if they were like this and if they were more loving and if they were less selfish and if they. No, we can't control them. Me. We're going to focus on me. And me in a sense of not why me, but what can I do to make sure that I honor my boundaries? And then this one, maybe it's just a story you're telling yourself. Notice what you say to yourself and others. You have power to change the story. That's what I was mentioning earlier as well when I was talking about you need to rewrite the story of how you are perceiving certain things. Okay, you need to challenge your own assumptions. You need to challenge your beliefs. Okay, sometimes things are just based off of our own perception, our own emotion, right? You can easily say, oh, somebody did this to me because they think this about me and this is why they did it. Not necessarily. That is just an assumption. Unless they literally told you that, and even so, that may not even be true. We have to consider other possibilities that maybe it wasn't about you. And they didn't choose you because this, and this, because you're not this. They chose you because maybe they didn't feel good enough in themselves. Maybe you were too good for them, right? So let's start rewriting our story. So instead of like blaming ourselves and blaming other people, we can just be like, maybe it just wasn't meant to be, right? Maybe this was just to protect me. Maybe it didn't work out because there's something better for me. And when you start living your life like that, you start putting all the focus on other people and what they have going on and being angry at what did not work out for you. And you change the story into, it always works out for me. Have you tried that? Spicy Pisces, have you tried to rewrite your stories? Have you tried to rewrite the things you tell yourself every day? You have to be careful. Your subconscious beliefs are more powerful than literally anything in this world, okay? So I do feel like there's a lot of good things coming towards you. I see a lot of adventure. I see lighthearted energy. I do see you slowing down a little bit for right now in order to get things in place for yourself. But money looks good. I see you connecting with people when you start rewriting your stories. Okay? You stop saying everybody hurts me. You stop saying everybody's bad. Everybody's out to get me. People always betray me. And you start observing your patterns and you start looking at, okay, well, these are the types of people that I usually go for. These types of people that never show me loyalty, that talk bad about others, that, they're not reliable, they're not consistent. You expect those people to somehow, because you're ego, to change for you because you're so special. All right? It has nothing to do with you. Okay? So instead of that, say, I'm going to find these new energies that they're nothing like my past energies that hurt me and betray me. They show me loyalty. They show me consistency. I have something solid to build around. 3 of Cups. You enjoy these connections. They make you feel good. You don't have to question. It's about balance and structure. 10 of Wands. You're reaching the end of a very tough cycle here. Temperance could be Sagittarius energy, strong fire, Aries, Sag, Leo coming towards you here. Okay, Temperance. Finding your balance. Could be Aquarius. Star card at the bottom, healing. But overall, Pisces, that's the energy that we're going into. We're letting go of this ego. We're letting go of this ego about the stories we tell ourselves, about making everything about us in the sense, in a negative sense, where it limits us, right? Or we do things to earn love. Okay. Virgo is the same way, opposite sign. I'm a Virgo. You know, we sometimes really want to work hard to earn love. So Pisces will sacrifice themselves to earn something, love, appreciation, validation, whatever it is. We're not doing that anymore. We're doing this in a very disciplined kind of way with boundaries. All right. So that's what I have for you, Pisces. Thank you so much for watching. If this reading resonated for you, please let me know in the comments down below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe so this channel can thrive. Get you a Boogie Down Bronx shirt, or even a little Pisces pendant, or whatever sign you are, on all the description links down below. I am at Tarot by Bronx on everything.